Welcome to our network of stations, part of Between Sisters, being the primary radio station this morning, but we also carry WCN Radio Africa, WCN Radio World, and Caribbean Connect. We do have other radio stations, but those are the primary radio stations this morning. Good morning to you, Miss Cavelle Mills. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. Good morning.
It's good to have you with us this morning. It's definitely a privilege to have you on our broadcast.
Thank you for that privilege. So it's nice hearing from you again.
It's pretty much overdue, huh?
Say again,
It's
I'm not
been
hearing you clearly.
I said it's been a while. I've been
Yes,
trying to get it's long
yeah,
overdue. So finally
yes, it
the
is.
day is yes. Well, you can keep pursuing and pursuing and pursuing until you get what you want or what you're trying to achieve.
That's right.
Okay, great. Well, as I said earlier on, I'm excited about this, and I'm also excited about doing the Your Story segment, a segment here that we are very, very proud of bringing women from all over the world to participate and share their life story or their professional story or mixed of both. Not just to share it for sharing's sake, but it kind of encourages other women who are pursuing, who are going through stuff, who are, whether it be education or relationships or, it's something else that's going on in their life that they really want to achieve. And there are pits and ups and downs and, all of that.
Mhm.
And what we try to do is to bring people like you who have gone through and have attained a certain amount of success to share your story and use it as a vehicle for those that are still going through and pursuing to encourage them not to give up. So again, we want to welcome you here.
I want to say thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. It's not every day that one can come on a forum such like this and open to the wider population or to the world and share pain or share their journey or their stories. So I pray that this morning, what I am about to share, that it will touch the hearts and empower our women, our strong, bold, beautiful women that are around the world.
Right. And also, it's also in, as you said, that is also in continuation of International Women's Day, which we celebrated a few weeks away. Um, but I know it's a month-long celebration as well. And so we
Yes,
continue in that vein to celebrate women, as you rightly said, as well. So, yeah. Mhm.
yes, yes. It's a beautiful time. It's the interview fell within a beautiful time. International Day for Women is something that for me it's it goes deep. We are resilient, we are strong, we could we could move things, we could do stuff, and sometimes we allow challenges and distractions to pull us back.
Oh,
But we are
yes. Oh, yes.
strong. Yes, we are strong women, and I love International Day for Women. It's time to celebrate, and the month is certainly an excellent time to celebrate.
Well, definitely. And, let me get into it right now. I first met
Mhm.
you while I was staying in Tobago after coming back from the US some years ago. And I can't remember the circumstances under which we met, but I know I was invited to speak at a public um, place where you were talking to a lot of young men um, from different schools, and I was very, very proud to be part of that forum. But before we get into that, let us hear a little bit about Miss Carver. You can tell the world a little bit about yourself before we get into your story.
Okay, well, I am a mother of two adult females. I am a police officer by profession. I'm a woman police sergeant. I am a woman of God. I am a strong woman. I have my only, I not only, I not, do I not only wear the law enforcement hat, but I wear another hat where I have my own organization, my own NGO. That NGO is an NGO that deals with children who are abused, and we also look at violence against girls and other social ills that plague our society. My organization has started in 2016. We run with a board of directors and we have a membership of about 30 members between the ages of 5 and 25 years old. We have been working in the Tobago space, and we have also started to touch the Trinidad space very slowly, but we are in the Trinidad space as well. We have empowered students in Tobago, young people in Tobago, over 3,000 students in Tobago, teaching, empowering, guiding, advising, and training our young people about the ills in society, the things to look for, what to guard against, and how to stand up and say no against these ills. We have also, that time we met, it was at a program that I hosted. We observed International Day for Boys. And that event was a fantastic event where we not only catered to the girls, but we pulled the boys out and we started empowering these men. You know, in society, you have a situation where boys don't cry. Boys were not born to cry or to feel pain or to feel hurt or to express themselves, or rather, they are taught to express themselves in a different tone. um, we teach our boys that they can cry and they can speak out. They can talk about the hurts and pains that they have been through. So we work with boys as well, and we've been doing that for a little while now. So I wear a few hats in in Trinidad and Tobago space. Um, I have always been an advocate for child abuse and for being that voice for our little people, for our little ones, being a voice for girls and for females. Um, there's too much pain out here, and my organization has decided that we are going to step out and we are going to fill that need. We also cater to accommodation for persons who are in that need, who may need that sort of intervention with other agencies. So we've partnered with international agencies and the local agencies in the island or on the island to bring that need to our people. So this is
Wow,
Cavell in a little nutshell.
wow, you wear a lot of hats. Definitely
Yeah.
wear a lot of hats. Let me back up a little bit. Lots of information that just
Mm-hmm.
flew by there. Let me see if I could break it down by getting a little. Um, what I'm hearing is police officer, sergeant. That
Yeah.
must have taken some time, especially in the environment of Trinidad and Tobago. I've noticed that police women are really um, taking the helm within the police service and, rising to the occasion in the ranks. We
Mm-hmm.
even have a commissioner of police that is female, so that's a good sign. But it takes
Mm-hmm.
a strong woman with purpose and focus to stay within the ranks to rise to that thing. But what I'm hearing is you're a champion. You're a champion for the underprivileged, for those that have those type of issues, being a police officer. And let me blend that in also with the fact that you are head of an organization, a founder of an organization. that caters to women, for young girls and boys, and the whole abuse situation and bullying situation and all that you find within the country. What were some of the motivations behind you wanting to be a police officer, and two, starting a group like this? What motivated you? Was it something that you dreamt of as a child to be a champion like this, or give us the experience in getting there?
Okay, well, I have been a police officer for 22 years, and that's a long time. Now, I never looked at policing as my career path. However, my father was a police officer, and if I could say it in the colloquial way, I live in the station. So I grew up in the police circles. Um, I decided to choose the path of a police. I tested it. I said, let me just wet my hands here because I always wanted to go in the beauty culture world. That was my love, and that is what I wanted to do in the accounting area. So I touched the police a little bit and I fell in love with it. It gave me a sense of safety. It gave me a sense of belonging. It gave me that kind of strength that I needed to do anything I wanted to do, and I stepped out in different areas, and I worked in a number of operational areas within the TTPS. So I liked being on the ground. I like the operations. I like, the movements, the actions. I love that. So I came up in that area and I decided that the police service could teach me a lot. And it did teach me a lot. It groomed me. It gave me the discipline I needed. It shaped me into the strong woman that I am today. I the journey in the service as from constable to sergeant was never an easy journey. And for women who want to go into law enforcement, brace yourself, ladies. This is a male dominated area, but you have to work to get to where you want to go and to rise to the top. Despite all odds, the challenges will come. But once you are focused and you know what you want to achieve, and that I knew what I wanted to do, and I continued and I persevered, and nothing stopped me. And I am here where I am today. Now, while in the service, I started working at the Child Protection Unit. I was there for 5 years. At that particular time, I observed that the police, we had one role, and we had that investigative role to deal with victims. And I started mixing and dealing with victims of child abuse and crime and stuff. It didn't matter what gender it was. And I observed that there are agencies that should have been able to partner with us to offer the social need, so that when we are doing the criminal side, you have that side where you have the social parts, where those trained persons would have to come in. And at that time, there was none. At the age of, and let me just piggyback just a little in the back, at a very tender age, I was sexually assaulted as a child. And I knew the pain when these children spoke with me. I knew that what they wanted. I knew what they wanted to feel. I knew what they wanted to get from the entire thing, and that is the real victims here. And I was at that place where I could understand. No, that social side, it was not coming, and the reports were coming crazy. So I sat one day and I had a conversation with the Lord. And one morning I was leaving my home to go to work. And I said to myself that day, I said, I am not providing enough for these victims to enhance the unit, one, and two, to to bring some kind of ease to the victims. And while I'm there, I started to pray. And I heard the Lord say to me, foundation. And for some reason, I am looking around my house and I am saying, but what happened to my house? Foundation, what am I going to do to this house again? Build a place onto this. And I kept hearing foundation, and I got four names came to me. And those four names, that was the beginning of my organization. Those were the key people that started with me to form an organization called Choice Foundation. That is when Choice was formed. And we started, and I started to share my thoughts and my dreams and what I wanted these victims to have. So we started off and we partnered with the Child Protection Unit. So there were days and times that we would share, we'd assist the unit in empowering and reaching out to these victims. Listen, the police is there to help. You have to say something so that we can help you. And a number of victims we assisted even through the court process. They had the confidence to go to court with some of our social workers for these matters to go through, and they did get the justice that they needed. So Choice started that way, and we came up along that line. And I moved on from the child protection unit and I went across to the human trafficking unit for a short time. And I did not allow that to stop. Even prior to me going into the human trafficking unit, we included human trafficking as part of our mandate to empower, to guide, to teach young people in Tobago. And we partnered with the Ministry of National Security through the Human Trafficking Unit. And I remembered Miss Alana Wheeler did a fantastic job uh, with her staff coming. And I think we spoke to 3,000 students or 2,500 students. We went across Tobago and we did a fantastic job. So, for me, it made me feel good. It made me feel that really made me feel on top of the world because I am reaching out to the young people in my island, empowering them and guiding them, giving them the knowledge base that they needed in order to fight, assist, educate, or move forward with the knowledge that they would have gotten from the organization. So, my journey through the service gave me that stepping stone. My adversity gave me that motivation. My listening and hearing what victims were saying at the time gave me that push to step out, to branch out, to go into that world, that NGO world, to try to help. So that gives me the greatest of joy.
Well, hearing your story, and you see the reasons why we love the whole idea about the your story segment is because, I mean, I have known you, I mean, not consistently, but I came to know you back then. I think it's in 2016, 2017, somewhere around there when I came back, and I went through some lectures giving your boys and stuff like that. No one would know that Miss Caville Mills, police officer, I looked at you. You're strong. You look tough. You look seasoned in your duties and all of that. And you got that. You have that aura about you that gives you that respect. It's like even as a man, you're like, you mess with that woman. She's into this thing, And yeah, no, you have that look, that actually you have to you have to give respect, especially when you're in uniform. And that's one aspect of it. And nobody would know that, you carry such a story within you that motivated you to be identified with with victims, if you want to call them victims, children, young people who have gone through rape and all these different things. But quietly inside of you, there was this story, this experience, this horrible experience as a child, as a young woman, that says that I've been there. I know what it feels like to be taken advantage of. And that resonated in you for such a long time that even after becoming a police officer, you decided to reach back and identify with those victims and help. Now, was the process easy for you on both levels, on an emotional level and as a police officer that, you know, you're in the ranks and you approach national security saying, look, this is an idea that I have. I am here um, and want to help in regards to young people, young women, young boys, and partner with national security. Was it easy for you because easier for you as a police officer? And was it easy for you to lend yourself having gone through similar situations?
Emotionally, I do something to myself that now it may not work for everybody, but you just have to find what works for you. But what I did, I took my emotional side out of it. And that is why I was able to stay in the unit for so many years, for 5 years. And persons would ask me, how you managing, girl, with all these things that you're seeing? Because I've seen it. I have seen how traumatized some of these children are, and I've seen it. So I took my emotions out and I put the professional me to the forefront. And I'm saying, look, do not say to yourself, this is my child age boy. Suppose it was my child. Suppose it was my niece. Suppose it was my neighbor daughter. Don't personalize it. So I didn't personalize it. I treated each case. I am a mother and I am a protector while being that mother. So I want to be able to protect. So I used that force, that kind of demeanor in order to be able to stand strong to deal with all those levels of trauma. Um, there were days that I would go home after work and I would tell my children, give me 2 hours to detox. Do not call me unless the house is burning down or someone is dying. Give me that time to come back down so that I can be my normal self with my children. And that worked well for me. So it wasn't too bad, but in the service, it was a bit challenging because at that time, in those days, you had to apply for permission to be able to have an NGO and the type of NGO. There were persons who actually met me and said to me, to my face, they're going to fire you, they're going to lock you up. Yeah, it's a conflict of interest. But I didn't see it as a conflict of interest. I actually saw it as though it's helping me and my staff and my unit to excel. Because what we're not getting on the outside, we're not going to break any laws or any rules or anything. But at the end of the day, we lift in the service. It's assisting us to lift, to bring a product of a professional standard. We're not waiting and saying, well, we're waiting on the THA, or we're waiting on the government, or we're waiting on a church-based organization. No, we're getting the jobs, we're getting all the jobs done, right? And I took a lot of advice from a lot of senior officers, and I wrote and eventually I got the permission to have my NGO and to function. In the Tobago space, I tried getting funding and all of that to run the organization. And there were persons who embarrassed me and told me that I have connections in the government service. Were you applying for money here for? Go there. And there are a number of persons who turned me down. And I had to take monies from my pockets to run the organization. And I give hats off to my board, Darren Allen, Colville Titus, Stacy Moore, these people who have been Cloyd Blackman, these people who would have been with me from the get-go, took monies from their pockets as well. And this is how we were able to assist a number of victims on the island. So every day, and Charlene Courtney, I cannot forget her. These are persons who would rally with me, even though we have $1, but these children have to get it. So those were some of the challenges. There are many days I had to call on my good friend, my childhood friend, Onika Mars, who also has another organization called Woman of Substance, for advice and for help, because in terms of staying strong. And there are many times I want to give up. There are many times I want to throw my hands in the air because this not working. It's taking all my money, it's taking all my time, it's taking everything, and I'm not getting back because I want to reach these victims. But those names that I called stood by me, and they've been standing. And I want to thank God for sending these people into my life to assist me there. There were a few officers who guided me along the process. It would be remiss of me if I did not speak on Superintendent Claire Guy Allen, and she always gave a very good rating to very good Cavelle with the organization, what's happening. It may not be often, but there were days that she would, assist, and she was my supervisor then. So I got some good backing, but there are some days that I didn't. But it did not deter me. I still pressed forth and was resilient and continued. So the journey was hard.
Well, the journey continues, and just let
Yes,
the
it
man,
does.
the journey continues. Let me let our listeners know that this is the Heart Talk Between Sisters, your story segment, and we are speaking to Miss Cavelle Mills. She said she's a police officer, amongst other things, and also the founder of a group by the name of Choice, based in Tobago. Um,
Mhm.
and uh, let me ask this question. Um, as the leader of this organ, as a matter of fact, you mentioned a name, Onika Maz. When Onika was coming out um, in her organization, I'm actually the person who pushed her. Her very first public uh, was in a forum that I was speaking at. And, we invited her to come and basically almost launch her organization uh, in Tobago. So her very first public speaking uh, is something that I feel very proud. She always tell me that my organization and hers, I'm the brother to her organization, and I think she's gone on to do extremely well, and also getting national award in Trinidad. So uh, very good, very good person. Yeah,
Yes,
but
she is. Yes. Mhm.
let's deal with the Tobago space. The Tobago space is a unique space. In the short time that I was there, the Tobago space is a unique space. It's small. It's just about 65,000 people average on the island. And what I've found it is the culture is extremely different to Trinidad and Tobago. And operating an organization like yours, and I've heard about different organizations, including Onika, that it's not the easiest of space to function in, simply because the mindset of the people, the smallness of the people, and even sometimes in reporting certain situations to law enforcement is challenging because everybody knows everybody. And then in some cases, you have situations where when you report a situation, you may be reporting it to somebody who knows that person. And it's pretty difficult because people have intimate relationships in Tobago that is different to Trinidad and Tobago because the smallness and the way people live in Tobago. So talk about that in light of your organization and having to deal with law enforcement, yourself a law enforcement officer in Tobago at the time. And how did you have to deal with that situation, having to report with all the layers of difficulty in Tobago and the culture.
The Tobago space is certainly a unique one. It is so different, and I don't want to use the word different, my apologies. It is unique, so unique that sometimes I ask myself, what is really happening? Now, with my organization, we deal with survivors of sex crimes and abuse in a nutshell. The whole ball with the nutshell, the abuse, the entire umbrella. The thing is, Tobago is extremely small, yes, and somebody knows somebody. And I'll be as blunt and as open as ever. Sex crimes in Tobago with children used to, well, when I was in Tobago at that time, because I'm not in Tobago anymore, but during the time when I was in the child protection units, you found a number of the statistics shown a high rate of sex crimes in the eastern side of the island. And when you did the research, it was a sort of incestuous kind of situation going on there in the Tobago space. No, and if you go and report, make a report. When the reports come, they don't want to say it's this one because it's an uncle, it's an aunt, it's a cousin, it's a father, it's a stepfather, it's a mother, that kind of thing. And nobody wants to report. You go to the neighbors, nobody wants to give information. Yet the police would get a lot of blows because you can't get the information, they're not sharing, they're not communicating, they're not cooperating because it's a relative. And that has been going on for years. So with my organization, I started empowering my girls and doing programs that would help them to speak up. So we have, sorry, rather a theme, girls have a voice. We have a voice to say that is my father that touched me. We have a voice to say that is Uncle John touched me or kissed me or had sexual intercourse with me. He did this to me or she did this to me. We gave them that voice to speak up about a relative. And it's on the police aspect, it is very challenging. But I brought in this side, the social side, to try to teach these girls what was wrong and what was right, or what is wrong and what is right. Your father cannot touch you inappropriately. Your uncle have no right telling you that I am going to kill you or you're not going to get this. So we taught them techniques, how to operate. So, and again, there is the balance where you have the organization and the police working hand in hand. So, there's another woman police that saw the purpose in what I was trying to do, and she understood it, and we used it. So there were a number of cases that we started to crack in on by using those techniques. Tobago people don't like to talk, they don't like to open up. They have that closed thing as it relates to situations like that. But we are in a world now that it is open, and the harsh reality is they have to start to talk out because it has gotten to a great it's serious, it's really serious, and it is affecting young people after it's not treated, and these young people grow into adolescence and they go into to young adults, and I mean they grow into adults, and their lives are affected later on. I never got
Mm,
help until I was 42 years old. And it's because I don't blame my parents, because at that time they don't know what to do. But because of the me going into the child protection unit and the training that I got from the TTPS that was offered to us, I was able to get help. So now the world is it's such a way that, whether you like it or not, you got to start to talk out because the laws now have protected these survivors or these victims by saying if you do not make a report of a sexual nature, there are laws that you can be punished. So now you really have to do it. So it was really a hard thing for me back then to be able to balance with the crimes and the reports rather, and getting people to talk out even in the organization. And if I should just touch on this, I also within the organization I have something called coffee and conversation. Now, coffee and conversation is an area that I allow people to come and just talk about the issues. I have a child who was a victim of child abuse. So I'm telling you, this is how I feel. I don't know what to do. But sitting in the forum, there's another mother or father that is going through the similar. You see the person walking every day and don't know that person going through. And they're able to help each other to go through the process. So coffee and conversation, I allowed people to come in and do that. And within that space, people started talking out. People started, you're getting little information. Don't be afraid of the police. Don't be afraid of that. Come and talk about it, and we would be able to help. So it was able to, to bring it out.
Wow. Tremendous work, tremendous work, tremendous work. Um, I remember while I was in Tobago doing some work many years ago, I met I met a woman who was selling down at the airport, and in conversation, she suspected that her husband
Mm-hmm.
was either sleeping with her two girl children or behaving in an appropriate way. He was touching them inappropriately. And it was light conversation because I was buying lunch, and it jolted me into, wow, this is the same thing I keep suspecting about Tobago. And I said to her, I said, listen, we can help you. And at the time, I think I was kind of getting to know you and your squad after the conversation then. And I said to her, I said, there are people in Tobago. I can get people who can come and sit with you and begin the process of helping you. She wouldn't divulge a whole lot of information. And I said to her, do you need the help? Do you want us to help? But the thing about it is that she was more concerned about her husband maybe having to make jail time rather than the girls. And all she kept saying to me is, I don't like the idea about this, but I don't want my husband to go to jail. I don't want my husband to go to jail. And she clammed up after she realized who I was, and she wouldn't give me any more information. After that, she wouldn't talk to me to take it any further. There are a lot of parents who are like that, especially mothers who will not either believe their girl children to be going through this or will not do anything if they realize this is actually a fact because they're afraid that the husband, in many cases, who might be the breadwinner of the house, and if it goes, then the suffering and the repercussions of the financial repercussions. Do you find that? And let me tie that also in with after the coffee and talking's conversation, did that information, was that a situation where it was a confidential situation where you as a police officer couldn't take the information and actually make a report, or it was something that you could actually take the information and proceed to getting not only emotional and the counseling help for the young lady, but actually legal help as well?
Okay, so um, what I did was actually you had to. It's a skill. It's a technique you have to use. The information was always confidential. They had no problems with the information going outside. What we would do at the time, I would allow them to, you have to work with them to come in. You can't just, okay, well, this is a crime. And if you don't do that, you will be arrested. And you have to tell the police. you have to be empathetic with that person. You have to show some kind of tact in order to be able to bring them in and take the information and go with their time. Because what can happen that could spit back on you. Because if you take the information just like that, you run with it, listen, this is a report we have here. This person tell me X, Y, and Z, right? And we had to go, this person is a suspect and what have you. And we had to go and arrest and charge and what have you. Where is the statement? You have to have a statement. This person has to cooperate with you. They have to be able to cooperate with you. So you have to show the empathy. You have to have that in you in order to work with that person because it's not easy for a wife to come to say, hey, my husband, I suspect my husband, or I see my husband, or officer, please help me. These are what the signs that I'm seeing. And the person who is seeing and thinking, it's my husband. It is not very easy for somebody to come out to do that, especially if the person is a breadwinner, especially if you not seeing that sides of the person. So you have to be able to work sensibly, use some tact, and to be able to bring that person in. Sure, take all the, make sure everything is confidential, and bring that person in. And then you take the necessary information. Now, you said something earlier in connection with um the husband might be a breadwinner and they don't want to talk about the husband and you gave a little scenario. I say to women, we are stronger than we think. I'm not saying this because I would have gone through my journey. Everybody's story is totally different. Everybody's road is totally different. But we have to give credit where credit is due. We have children. We go through 9 months of labor. We still have to come home and clean out. We cook. We do every, I don't even have to list the things that we do because everybody knows. We do it no matter what. We There are times my daughter was studying abroad. And there are times that I have been in financial distress because to pay for her to go to school, and back those days was St. George's University, it was very expensive being a single parent. And you had to find the money. And there are days my colleagues could testify to this. I come to work and I sit and I say, Cavell, you need to find, I just call in a figure, 8,000 US to pay for the accommodation. You have 48 hours to get that money. Your bank account not even saying 48 cents. You ain't thieving. You're not going and rob anybody. You're not going to make a jail anywhere. But you got to get that money because that child not going to get kicked out. And guess what? You get it. We have defined the ways and means, we define and ways and means committee. We can do it. So sometimes we shortchange ourselves because if this man is the breadwinner, he's also the child's or children's father. He has a responsibility and a role to protect the family, not only his wife, but his children. And he isn't. So mommy now have to step in to protect these children. Your children come first, especially in this situation. So you have to guide these children, you have to guide that process. It's not going to be easy after that, but guess what? Life is not easy. It wasn't designed that way. It isn't. So we have to put that. I just want to say to women out there, put that life is not easy behind you. See what is in front and go and do what you have to do. No matter what, do not allow the challenges, the distractions to stop you. There are days that we as women, we will fall. We fall, we cry, we hurt, we get a back and all. We go back down again. That's the journey. We have to do it. So I love to work with women who would come to tell me this same scenario. Oh God, I can't talk about my man. I can't talk about my husband. Officer, what gonna happen to me if so and wherever? We have a situation, coffee and conversation allows the empowerment to start to come in. So I start to inject you with positivity. I start to inject you with a sense of empowerment. You could do it. Just step out. It would happen. So I hope that I answered I fulfilled that aspect of the question.
Certainly do. Certainly. Let me just say this. Uh, I'm going to ask you a couple questions here again. I'm bringing back Trinidad and Tobago. We'll bring it back to Trinidad. In the light of Trinidad and Tobago, not just Tobago, um, where are we as far as the laws are concerned in light of what you do? Take yourself out of a police officer right now, but you know the law. Let's look at let's look at where we are as far as the laws are concerned, and where are we in light of that in relations to your group and the mission and vision and purpose of choice.
I hope I understand your question well. In Trinidad and Tobago, we have to keep, oh, sorry, let me take myself out as a police. The laws have to continuously be reiterated. Now, the organization has always in our scope of things, in our mission, what we set out to do, our mandate, and so on. We educate. That's part of it. So we teach the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. We guide you to where you can find the laws and who to go to if you do not understand. We give scenarios, we give situation. We always show you where to go, how to get it, and what to do. Because we want persons to be able to stay within the perimeters of the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. So don't come and tell me, well, officer, I didn't know. I didn't know. Um, I do it because that's what I knew about. It's not gonna work like that anymore here. The information is out there, but we still, because of who we are as a people, we still have to hear it coming from an ASP or a sergeant of police or a corporal or a division or a section that comes to teach us. And for example, we know that if you have sex or if an adult person has sexual intercourse with someone under the age of 18 years old, that is called sexual penetration. The law states that whether that minor who cannot give consent, whether the minor wants to say, well, it was my man or it's my boyfriend, that can't happen because the law specifically states that. Now, I could talk for the Child Protection Unit. They have been saying that since 2015 to present. They've been in forums across Trinidad and Tobago saying it, but it ain't stop. People still coming and saying, I didn't know, this girl tell me this and that. So we have to continue, they have to continue reiterating the laws and educating our people in Trinidad and Tobago as it relates to that. Choice Foundation will definitely not stop. We are going to continue, whether it be human trafficking, whether it be child protection or abuse against children, whether it be domestic violence, whatever it is, whatever topics we fall under, or whatever topics we touch, we would put the laws there for persons to be educated.
You see yourself expanding choice and making it almost like a national organization. You are in Tobago and you've done tremendous work there and continue to do that. Do you see yourself having an arm of that organization within Trinidad space as well?
Yes, I have. That was a plan since 2021, and that was part of it. And COVID came and did what it had to do. And um, we started doing food and clothing, and I think it was school supplies distribution in Trinidad. There were some persons who partnered with us in Trinidad, like
Mhm.
NATCO and other agencies in Trinidad, small businesses as well, who partnered with us in the Trinidad space. Now, yes, Trinidad is on the agenda. And moving forward, we are going to have some things done in Trinidad, and we're also looking at a regional um, space where we can touch some CARICOM countries as well, and the international space moving forward. So we have tons of plans where that is concerned. We want to go out to the schools, we want to share, we want to marry what other agencies or other communities are doing that they are succeeding in, marry what we have to theirs, because remember, our cultures are different to outside of the Caribbean space.
Right.
And me, with some international training in the area, I can relate to that outside space and be able to gradually merge both together, and we can actually work something out and get the best out of it and get the success that we are looking for. So
Great.
I know child abuse is a global thing, human trafficking is a global thing. This is global, this is all over the world. But I always believe in partnership, and I always believe in collaborating. It makes the success bigger. Your impact is bigger. More persons are touched, and you get more survivors that way.
Okay. Final moments, and time is always fly fast when you're having
Oh
fun.
yeah.
The interview is just amazing, and you can kind of get the idea now why this conversation is important. Um, to have your story amongst other women's story, because I mean, even for me, I learned so much, and other women who are listening around the world, you are speaking on in the comforts of wherever you are, affecting women who are listening in as far as Africa and different places, because
Oh.
of the technology that we use. Um,
Mm.
so it is important because, just as you said earlier on, there are women in different places, in different spaces, different countries, who are hearing your journey, your story, and can identify with your personal story. And there are women with groups and organizations that are listening that can say, you know what, maybe we need to touch base with her to form some sort of a partnership with her group, and you can blend or lend information to each other moving forward. So this is the reason why um, this particular segment is dear to my heart. I mean, the fact is, you hear heart talk between sisters, and you're saying, what is a man doing in the back of that? Is simply we get to the point where we have women like you leading out more than you wouldn't hear my voice. I've just been in the background, kind of directing from back, but it
Tomorrow.
came from
Yes.
it, it came from a passion because I have sisters and I have a mother, and I have seen the tremendous, in some cases, situations I've seen my mom in, I've seen my sister in, and I've looked at it and I said, this is a good place, a good thing to start, and then eventually, who knows, and I can lean back and allow women to really take control of this whole thing. Two questions before we end. um, One is, do you have the what you want to call that? Do you have the facts or the data on how much children, young women, and boys, if you do, are affected by this situation, both on a local basis, maybe Caribbean or international? And then tell us in your final moments, speak to the woman that you're speaking to right now, from the perspective of not just a police officer and a woman who have gone through this, but somebody who leads an organization uh, in this regard, in this idea.
I let me say, because I am a police officer and because I do not have the data at this time, I would have to have permission to release such data on this on a platform such as this. So I am not in that position at this time to do that. Um, so unfortunately, that cannot happen today. My apologies. The as a woman leading an organization like this, it's a very challenging. It's refreshing for me, and I like to see women standing their destiny and their purpose. This is part of my purpose, and I'm walking it. I am not the type that would recommend that you jump out of yourself and not be humble and show compassion, because sometimes it can lead to that. But I am advising all women, stand for what is right, stand strong. It does not matter how it seems, it does not matter how it looks. You can do it. Falling is part of the process, and I've learned it. No one told me. Falling is part of growth, falling is part of success. You have to step up, get up, and go again. Go until you have you achieved the goal that you want. I am asking women to hold on to God. This is the only way we could do it. This is the only way I could find 8,000 US within 48 hours. This is the only way I could feed a family of 12 with a loaf of bread and some butter. We could do it, but we have to hold on to God. So use God as your main source. Continue to walk in the strength in which you were built with, and don't allow anybody or anything to stop you. This is your time. I want to say happy. I want to take this opportunity to say happy International Day for Women to my commissioner and the executive, because they are at the helm. They are at the top. And I am guaranteeing the world today that that was not an easy journey to get to. And they are there. And they have jobs and duties to perform that are not easy ones. I want to say happy International Day to all the women in the world, whether you own a business, whether you are a housewife, whether you are in school at 50 years old, whether you're in school at under 50, whether you have your brothers and sisters, whatever is your niche. Happy Independence International Day to, for women to you, and continue rising to the top and continue holding that flag. We are to be celebrated and continue this celebration. Thank you.
I was going to say last question when you started. My final question was to say to you, um, okay, we have to. It would be remiss of me if I didn't say, give me the God perspective, but you did. You
Yes,
did, and you
yes.
answered it
You always
because
save you
the
save the
best,
best for last. I like to
to
save the
save the,
best for last.
to save the best for last. So that is a crucial part of it. To trust God and rely on Him for strength and all of that. So you did answer it. But let me just say from the Heart Talk Between Sisters and Bijou, which is the covering business that is in existence in Trinidad and Tobago for 44 years, quietly doing things. Let me say thank you for accepting our invitation and to being here to share your story. Your story will definitely, even after we finish here, your story will continue to have a legacy because other people will continue to listen it on social media or wherever we place it. That will affect their life from now till whenever. And we thank you so much. We wish you all the best. God's blessing on what you did and what you started, what you continue to do, and what you will do in the future. We are here to support. Always remember, now that you're part of us, you came on the station, you now become one of us. And we hope that we're going to be able to, at some point in time in the future, have another interview with you on your development and your rise within the Trinidad and Tobago space and maybe the Caribbean and international. Keep us abreast of what you're doing, and we wish you Godspeed. God bless you in all your endeavors, and thank you again for joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me and
You're
have a
welcome.
good day.
You too. Good morning.